Washington Commanders head coach fines defensive coordinator $100,000 for comparing January 6th with the 2020 riots. And I actually think he's wrong on this. You can't really compare them. I think the actual 2020 riots was worse than January 6th because people actually died and it cost billions of dollars in damage. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon, my merch store, and my mental health coaching and consultation page. All right, let's talk about this news. Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera announced on Friday that he is fining his defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio $100,000 for comments comparing January 6th Capitol riot with violent protests following the murder of George Floyd. Now, this is crazy. You can't even have your own opinion without being fined. It was $100,000 opinion. That's just crazy. But Rivera said the financial penalty the team collects from defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio will be donated to the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund created by Congress to support the families of USCP officers killed or injured in the line of duty. I mean, these people are ridiculous. Del Rio had called the riot a dust-up and suggested that the difference in the media coverage of January 6th and the coverage of the riots that occurred after George Floyd murder in May 2020 reflected a double standard. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. You can look at what the riots. There was it was. I remember the CNN video when the reporter was talking, and he was like, "Oh, they're mostly peaceful," and there's a freaking building in the background being burned to the ground, and that's par for the course for them with the double standard. But quote, he says, why are we not looking into those things? If we were going to talk about it, why are we not looking into these things? Del Rio said on Wednesday. Quote, I can look at the image on the TV. People's livelihoods are being destroyed. Businesses are being burned down. No problem. And then we have a a dust up at the Capitol. Nothing burning down, and we're going to make that a major deal. I just think it's kind of two standards. And if we apply the same standard and we're going to be reasonable with each other, let's have a discussion. That's all it was. Let's have a discussion. And I don't see anything wrong. Like, what was controversial about that? He just saying if you treat one this way, you should treat the other side this way as well. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what he said. But Del Rio was defending a Monday tweet that read, quote, would love to understand the whole story about why the summer of riots, looting, burning, and destruction of personal property is never discussed, but this is common sense. True. I mean, nothing wrong about what he stated. He's just basically saying, like, if you're gonna treat one this way, you should treat the other this way too, which is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be equal. The law should be applied equally to all parties. Well, Rivera said he met with Del Rio Friday to express, quote, how disappointed I am in his comments, according to a statement. As we saw last night in the hearing, what happened on the Capitol on January 6, 2021 was an act of domestic terrorism, Rivera declared. A group of citizens attempted to overturn the result of a free and fair election, and as a result, lives were lost on the Capitol building was damaged. The life that was lost was due to officers shooting a woman. That's the life that was lost. Well, on Thursday night, the House Representatives January 6th committee held a primetime hearing on the Capitol riot. Rivera asserted that the Washington Commanders do not believe that Black Lives Matter unrest that ravaged cities across the country in the summer of 2020 is remotely comparable to January 6th. I agree. Quote, I want to make it clear that our organization will not tolerate any equivalency between those who demand justice in the wake of George Floyd's murder and the actions of those of January 6th who sought to topple the government, he said. So it's okay to burn stuff, businesses that had nothing to do with anything, Most of those businesses they were burning down was small. It was small businesses that was owned by black people. You see black people buildings being burned down in the name of George Floyd. That's okay, but if someone trespass on our capital, then they get the book thrown at them. Come on, be for real, people. But Del Rio issued an apology statement Wednesday while doubling down on the sentiment that he and all Americans should only accept peaceful protests. Quote, I made comments earlier today in referencing the attack that took place on January 6, 2021. Referencing that situation as a dust up was irresponsible and negligent, and I'm sorry, he said. I stand by my comment condemning violence in communities across the country. I say that while also expressing support as an American citizen for peaceful protests in our country. He should have never backtracked. I wouldn't have backtracked. If they can fire me whatever they want, fire me whatever it is, I'm gonna speak on. I would just speak on it. Why backtrack, man? Why backtrack on that? But let me know what you think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out democrapublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.